Hello, Internet! I come to you today to share my thoughts of what I have horrifically produced. I am very sorry, right, for the poor audio and my management skills and the camera angle and everything else, because it is kind of terrible. I would say so myself. I do apologise in advance. But anyway, I will share what I've done. So this video is meant to be for one person. It is meant to be for one person only. Hi Tom. I am now YouTubing. But this video is meant to be for one person only, and I'm just sharing it to the world so I can do some stuff with it. So this is just the making of the legend of the sandwich and how I did it. Anyway, so on screen right now is draft one. So let me talk about my project for starters. So our task was to create a sort of a folklore story where we had to create a folklore project of where it just had to make a story around folklore, and we just got to narrate it and stuff. So basically we've got to make an animatic, like at least a minute long, I think, with some animations in it, which I've done. But basically make an animatic and just share and just like do some stuff. So when I first did this, I wanted something goofy. If I was doing a narration, I'm always drawn to goofy characters and stuff. So I did some research into goofy and Olympic games and goofy how-to and stuff. So my first strategy was to create something in the style of goofy. So I looked at goofy and Olympic games, and I kind of took the narration idea and thought about what could it be, like a commentator, commentating on a sports event and stuff. And then I've written this whole script of how everything's gonna work, how every single thing, everything's gonna do it, right? Just explain it all. So I did all that, but yeah, not very good idea, because it ended up being I think I got halfway through editing it and went, it's 4 minutes long. I'm not doing 4 minutes of animation, or even longer than that. I stopped at 4 minutes, but it was like a 10-minute short film. I'm not doing a 10-minute short film. You can't make me do a 10-minute short film. Well, a 10-minute animatic. I should clarify, this is an animatic. Our task was to create an animatic. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that in my final design, but it is meant to be an animatic. I just went above and beyond and I did some animation. It was meant to be like an animatic, but a 10-minute animatic, especially in a time, I think we had 3 months or something like that. But we had months. We had a few months to do this. So 10 minutes of animation, and this is my first project that I've done. I've got to calm myself down, So 10 minutes of animation would have been, or even an animatic would have been out of the question. Nah. So it was kind of too long. So, and I kind of knew that, so I've just tossed it. I threw it away. But then in my wake of me tossing that, I was like, oh my God, I don't have anything left. I don't have anything to do, especially in these 10 weeks. I'm in serious trouble. So I panicked. And I started writing down, typing manically, just rigorously, just a bunch of short stories. I think Sid or D-Doot is his online username. D-Doot's in my class. He showed me his story, and it was about Sid, and he showed me how much he's written and stuff, about what he's done and stuff. So I thought, I took that idea. So instead of writing a whole script, 10 pages long, infinite time that I will never do, and probably something that I'm gonna throw away. So I've written just a simple script. I started writing just a bunch of short stories that kind of silly, kind of goofy, and just don't think about it. And on my third attempt, I wrote a story about the sandwich, the story of how the sandwich and whoever ate it could become God and stuff like that. And so, well, in like the first week, I didn't actually like this idea like at all. But like as I got into it, I kind of liked it. Kind of liked it. It got started warming up. It warmed up to me, you know. Unlike this room is incredibly cold. Anyway, I started to warm up to this idea, and it was actually right. I quite enjoyed this, but I think I looked at a bunch of like Michael Spooner, but I will say the one weird thing that I did with this project is I wanted the sandwich lord, which is the night guy who protects the sandwich. If you haven't seen the video, I should mention that you should probably go see this video before like link there if I remember to put it. When I was doing this, I wanted the character of the night guy, which is basically guy who guards the temple, guy with massive spear, to be a robot for some reason. And that was like the worst decision that I could have ever made. I have no clue what compelled me to make the guy a robot, but thank God I diverted from that. I spent like weeks and weeks just searching robot designs. But why? Why? He's a knight, not a robot. What was I doing? So I went back to knight. So on screen, again, where have I put it? You know, I got some concept art of what I wanted the knight to be, which looks nothing like what I wanted like the concept art was. To be fair, this was on the tail end, and I was kind of rushing like through this to get this done. But I actually quite like the sandwich lord. I actually made the Fox character, which is called Fox, during my lunch break at work, it was really weird. I just had like the awakening. So I made my Fox character at work, just on doodle sketches of my little, like, just scribbled him out, and he actually came out really well. So I'm quite happy with that. And here on screen, wherever it is. I'll be honest, when I was doing this project, I weren't backing up anything. I was in the moment. I was creating everything in the moment. So every single bit of planning went in the moment, and now I'm just going back through and just trying to explain and articulate what I want to hopefully get a grade out of this college course for that one person, for that one guy who's watching this video. But yeah, so I'm just going over. But anyway, so I've got some concept of like just sandwich and stuff here. I'm gonna skip over this. You know, I got the storyboarding. Originally, I think one of the things I did ran into is the end of the story, which was kind of naff, because he basically the character who I wanted to be turns magics and makes a cup of wine, and then he wishes for his whole house to be filled with wine, and something stupid like that, and his house blows up. But it was really funny. But it was kind of naff, because after like really good up here, and a terrible ending, which I suppose my other ones good. I decided to rewrite that. But yeah, I did that, and then I just started recording. Well, yeah, I started recording another video and my sounds and stuff. And then I made the first animatic, which, if you can't tell, is on my screen. I probably overlay something, which actually turned out alright. I also did color code this, but the color code like never worked. Oh well, it kind of did and kind of didn't. But like if you look on screen, all the ones in this little slice, all the ones in purple were meant to be like the worst, terrifying ones. Something that I've never done before. But like it was all a lie. It was all a lie. Because when I was actually doing this, I just found easy way around, and actually the ones I didn't think of and stuff turned out actually be fine. But when I did go into the second version of my final version, I went into this project thinking that I should probably go because I want to learn like a load of different software. But I did go into the project thinking that I'm probably going to get bored of this really quickly. So to keep me entertained, I thought of a good idea of having no art style. So this style. So when I went into it, the style of art that I wanted to go into has no art style. So I kind of want. So when I was doing this, I kind of wanted no art style. So that basically means doing whatever I want. Which is very good decision. I felt like having no art style was the best decision I've made on this thing because it actually kept me going and it allowed me to do loads of different stuff. So during this project, I'm making the animation. I used not only Blender, but I also used the Adobe subscription service, which especially Premiere Pro, because I'm not very familiar with it. I use Photoshop because apparently Photoshop actually has an animation software which looks really weird. But like I use that. I wanted to use Moho. I wish that I did use more Moho for this project, but the Moho I did use is mostly in the title sequence and stuff. So so in the start, so I think the second thing where it says the legend, so it goes the legend of the sandwich. I use Moho for that because it's just really easy to move around, but I did wish that I did use more Moho. Right, thinking about back to it, I did use a 3 pixel program. I'm not quite sure, but if you just type in pixel art, I use whatever the second third link was, but I did use a pixel program, which was alright. But yeah, so for the whole of this project, I was like, I want to do different stuff. I want to try all these different stuff. But anyway, so let me run down for it because this video is mainly to go into depth of what I've done. Well, talk about my process of how my scenes were, and that's mainly do it. I can finally show you. Well, I'm not going to actually show you, but I'm going to actually talk about why I'm here. This is a longer intro. So first thing I want to talk about, I did make on screen. I did make this title card. With the square, the circle, and the triangle, and the pencil. I did make this for this project, but I'm gonna hopefully keep it for whenever I'm gonna do it again. So this was something new to this project. I should have put animations because that's what my channel's called, but I have no clue why I put productions. I won't go too much into it. It's kind of got a meaning to me and probably no one else. It's a bit random, but you know. But anyway, I want to get past my thing, and again on screen, this bit here where the legend of the sandwich, I use this Moho for this, as well as a bit of Photoshop to actually make and construct the sandwich. Drawing out the sandwich and stuff. So I use Photoshop for that, and then I use Moho to title sequence, which is really cool. I shrunk down the border because I really like it was kind of too zoomed in, and I kind of like this border thing. It just felt right, it just felt right. Anyway, moving past that. It's going to be really hard just trying to recalibrate what I've done for like the last 5 months or so. I don't actually know when this project started. I know when it ended. It ended January 13th. But anyway, back to the main task. So I remember now. So this shot here. So the reason why I did this shot is just to convey how like massive the temple is. So it's meant to be an establishing shot of like the world. Well, no, not the world, but like the main thing. So the sandwich, and I feel like this is the first thing that viewers had to see and stuff. So it just looks really cool and stuff. So I used a mix of Blender and kind of wanted to keep it cool, but I wanted so where the columns are, I wanted the viewers' eyes to go up. So like I wanted the viewers to look up to just show how powerful the sandwich is and stuff. Anyway, moving on because I don't actually have much to say. This one was good. The rabbit. So this took only a couple of weeks, I remember. I think I had some help with it, but yeah, again, going back to that mixed mediums vibe, I wanted to do like 2D, so some 2D animation. So this was done in Blender's grease pencil mode, and then I used After Effects to layer on the grain and stuff, all the smudge, the smear. I did all that. Man, I'm fumbling through this video. This is gonna be a boring ass video that no one's gonna watch. Going back to the rabbit. So this, I really wanted to do like the tooniness of like I'm gonna say Steamboat Willie and stuff. So the rabbit's design, I think when I was drawing it out, this had like no planning as well. So I just looked at Bugs Bunny, and kind of wanted to draw like I used Bugs Bunny as a reference to draw out this like rabbit creature and stuff, and it actually went really well, I would say. So I kind of wanted like that golden age Disney, that golden age era of animation where everything was really smooth for this little section. And then I had some feedback where my dad said, why don't you make it look old by putting like a grain filter over the effect of it to like make it look really cool, and like just to sell home that it's old and stuff. And I quite like this because like it was good, especially with like pushing. I really like the faces that he pulls because like I had to really think about where and where, but like stuff. So this rabbit obviously wished to be a king and powerful, so I drew him muscular. It was really cool. And then going a little bit forward. I should name all my shots, but I don't actually know the name of them. But going forward, I think this part of the video is where the guy punches, and surprisingly, this was actually the last thing I actually did of this project, where the guy punches in I'm gonna say the sandbag, but he punches this thing or can, whatever. So he punches this thing, and then it goes flying. So this thing was actually on my bucket list for a while, and actually, not only that, having an animation where someone punches something was on my bucket list for a while, but like I also managed to figure out how to actually properly rig a character, like correctly, which is really good. So I've only ever rigged 6 characters, I think, in my lifetime. In Blender, I've rigged 6 characters in Blender pretty low. And this, I'm going to say for like really good certainty that this character where he punches is actually the best rig that I've made, because this is like number 6, because the Sandwich Lord is kind of broken, and I will get that in a little bit later, the Sandwich Lord rig. I find when I do animation and stuff, or when I do rigs, I want to go for low poly, because it's going to be easier for me to do and just figure out, because I'm not at the level where I can make really high detailed rigs, and it would be a massive pain for me to figure out if that rig didn't work, and it'd be a massive pain. So I'm still learning of how to do rigs. I think D-Dude, as I mentioned earlier, D-Dude showed me a few things. Like he mentioned about topology, didn't know that existed. So he mentioned about topology, Rigify, all these fancy animation tech buzzwords to improve my stats of the animation. But so here, let me get back to the shot design. But here in this one, I think I say something about power beyond gods or human limits or something like that. But so so to show this, I really wanted to draw the viewer's attention like immediately, because it's quite a short scene, it's quite quick, and he does punches like really quickly. So to show where the viewer's eye should be, I had spotlights. so kind of like a stage effect, like a stage with like some, you know what a stage is. So I had stage so so the viewers could follow along where he was, and then where the like I'm gonna put a sandbag where the sandbag was. So I just wanted to draw attention to what you should be looking at immediately with the spotlights, as well as the diagonalness. I can draw on the screen, as well as the like diagonalness. So you should look at this first, and then like it moves across. So you're always looking at this. For some reason, I put a house because when I was doing this, I put a lot of detail in the scene. Maybe a bit too much detail. So I drew like so when I was drawing these trees, I had like I texture painted like everything. So like all these little bits of bark. So I wanted it to be redwood trees because I don't know actually quite know how to do leaves. I figure it out now, but I just didn't want to do some like loads of leaves. But I thought giant redwood trees, and I've seen one in real life, but like they look massive and they're like incredible. But yeah, I wanted to just do giant redwood trees because for one, I didn't wanted to do leaves, and two, it's kind of like mystical and amazing kind of stuff. Kind of fits in the vibe of everything. And then I built like these mountains up in the background using the sculpt tool in Blender to give like this massive giant world. And he's so little, but he's so strong as well, and stuff. And like I also added a house in the background because I thought it'd be cool. I have no clue. I thought the scene over there would look quite empty, so I added a house, and then I just added a light because you can actually see it. So that was cool. Anyway, moving on. This one, I actually posted this image here on my DeviantArt account. So again, I used a mix. I actually used a mix of Blender and Photoshop. So I just did the background in Blender, and then I used Photoshop. I found during this project though is that it's actually quite easy. It's quite easy to do backgrounds in Blender, and it makes the whole process a lot quicker. As well as the beam. So I'd be honest, if I was drawing this all out, I would not know how to draw on the beam or anything like that. And actually, if you recognise this pose that it kind of looks like me, I didn't mean it to. It's actually the one I probably use on my profile if I ever get around changing it. It's just it's replacement, but it's just me going like, wow. And it was just stuff. But yeah, this was beam power beyond human lips. Going again. The audience look at the character and then like at the beam. So kind of cool. And then next shot. So we got a pixel. So I did this in pixel art. So if you look screen. So I did this in the pixel art app. I think this one's one of the first things I did. The first finished thing I did. Cool. But I wanted to do, again, going back to mixed medium. So what if I did the hourglass? And the hourglass actually fit really well in the thing. So it was quite hard because when I was doing this, especially in pixel art, is that all the pixels are rigid. I did cheat a little, and I did squash and stretch the artwork a little, because when it first pops up, I needed to stretch the frame a little, because I needed some movement there, but because my files are a mess. If I can like take down this screen and then just like pop up what my screen actually looks like at home, is actually a mess. I have no file management at all. But yeah, so I couldn't go back. Well, I didn't really want to go back and just do a bunch of new frames. So I thought simple solution, just squish them down the video. No one would ever notice until now, because I'm telling you about it. Kind of cool. But yeah, this was, I think again, this was kind of like just the way that that I wanted to do this. I really need to take off these headphones. Hang on. Oh, that's better. Oh, that's really better. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah. So I just wanted. This was one of my first times that I've done something like this with like pixel arts and stuff. I think maybe not with first. I've done like another. I've done like, I think I did another test whilst when I discovered this app on like, and I posted it to Facebook or something like that. But yeah, this was my first attempt in like ages, and it actually came out really well. But I wanted to do this like the hourglass thing and the scroll because it just looked the easiest. Because I knew if I did it in Blender, it would have been like way too easy just to like just take this, turn it around, like, and it just would have been like too easy. So I thought if I could make this sound challenging for myself, like listen, I can make it sound challenging by using little tiny cubes and like somehow like making them spin, which is like just amazing. And I did it, and it actually looks good. Anyway, moving on. This next scene, I know about this. So there is an error in this next scene. If you see on the screen. So if you haven't noticed, I assume it's very noticeable. This next thing, I kind of messed up. Right. So because of my poor file management, I lost one of the scenes. So when I was doing these scenes, or like, so this basically how the whole scene is that there's a spinning sandwich. I get into that a little bit, and then like the camera zooms out down to the sandwich lord. The sandwich lord. And it was really cool. But the thing is that I didn't make this scene long enough. Because and I also lost the files, which was pretty bad. But so this scene is actually how I fixed it, or I attempt to quick patch it, is that I placed this new one in with a spinning sandwich, and then I clipped this over with something else with the zoom out. So, but like in my attempt to do that, the scale of somehow weirdly of the bricks somehow like just moved, like in Harry Potter when the bricks move out the wall, like get out the way. But like somehow I magically made the bricks move, which was really, really weird. But yeah, I have no clue how I did that, which was really weird. But basically, I know that. If you guys in comments start like shouting, or like in the other video, hey, the bricks move, what the hell? It's because I got two files. It's because I got two separate bits of content. So I got like my patch there, and then I got my movement of the camera there. So this actually is two separate. But anyway, going back to the spinning sandwich, I thought it was funny. So the spinach, you know when, well, I assume you play video games like Minecraft, Team Fortress 2. I don't have that much game experience, I'll be honest. Hightail maybe. But yeah, so I thought it was really cool just have the sandwich spinning and it's basically goofy instead of a flat image. Hello? So anyway, yeah, so when you're playing like Team Fortress 2, Hightail, whatever, things normally start spinning. So instead of having a flat image, I thought maybe I should have like sandwich spin. I thought that add some movement to the image, that convey to the the viewers that you probably should look at this. This is a funny bit of content that is coming along nicely. But yeah, I thought about that. So yeah, I just wanted to zoom the camera out. And I will admit, if you look very closely, the Sandwich Lord actually does move his head a little, just a little, not that much. So I just thought that was cool. Adds a little bit more life in the scene. I'm gonna say there's consistency of this like animatic slash animation isn't my strongest suit, because like in the very next scene I build this whole like environment set. So yeah, let me talk about this. I zoomed in. All right, we're done talking about that. Which I kind of I should actually talk about that in general. So I was gonna let me mention first. So when I was making this whole thing, when I made that first thing where they zoom the sandwich down, I kind of built this another whole scene, like in it, which was really weird. Well, I'm not gonna say weird. I'm just gonna say my poor planning. So I built this whole nother scene. It was literally just make something, build something else, make something else, make something else. So yeah, there's a lot of building and make something, and just I was kind of rushing through this project to get this done. It actually turned out really nice, alright. But yeah, so I built this whole scene, which is really annoying because in my mind nothing connects. It might connect to you, but in my mind nothing connects, because behind the Sandwich Lord in this scene here is either nothing or there's another stairwell, but there is no brickwork, so nothing actually makes any sense. And what he even is behind his door, I have no clue. You guys have to make it up, because I have no clue where he's actually called the Cardboard Knight, by the way. This guy here is called the Cardboard Knight, and this one's the Sandwich Lord. But I have no clue where the Cardboard Knight like came from, because I didn't build that far. But you have to use your imagination, you guys, to actually know what he went through, because I have no clue, because I didn't know like how to build this. So I guess that's the thing to the future. Anyway, going back to a few things. So when I've zoomed into here and I've taken another shot when he zooms down, I kind of want in the illusion of the viewers. So so it looks at first that he's looking down to the viewers like this, but like he's actually looking at like someone who's challenging him. So it actually kind of smoothly goes into the next scene, and then it gives you that full break, which is kind of cool. Anyway, so one thing about this room when this thing here is that the bricks don't line up. I feel like I'm gonna have to go through like a bunch of stuff. So maybe if I make another video, show you all my mistakes that I've made. But just know that here that my bricks don't actually line up very well. And like it gets worse and worse because I just move the camera around. So it was built for this camera angle, but like the bricks don't matter. Where did this thing come from? What is this? What in the world did I do? But like, yeah, nothing lines up, I guess. I've got to fix that. I've only been on Blender for like, I'm gonna say 2 years, but like I've only been on the grease pencil part, so I'm still learning the 3D stuff. But yeah, so another thing is I've just noticed is why does his like I assume his line art changes, like the Cardboard Knight's lineup just keeps changing, so he goes from like thin line up here, and then like the other scene that I had it's like really thick. But anyway, it's just a thing. I assume that it's just me switching softwares and me forgetting stuff, and me not writing down like actually proper characters or sheets. I only made like, there was only 2 characters that I've made, like actually thought about and how should work and like everything else, and that was the Sandwich Lord, the Sandwich Lord, and the Fox, even though it was mostly the Fox. So the Fox had the most character design and actually had a turnaround sheet. I'm probably late to something. But yeah, I was stuff. So the Sandwich Lord, and the Fox was the only thing that I actually made during this project, which is alright. But anyway, so this whole scene here where the cardboard knight is and will only be, it is like he's only in like this scene. I consider where when the cardboard knight shows up, is where that bit I sat down and I animated like throughout. Like, I've got to say, when I was doing this, that was the longest scene that I did. But anyway, if you look back up at the screen, I know there's a bit like loads of looking back to wherever at the screen, but on the screen right now is like, if you see this, this was a mistake. I don't know, I've made lots of mistakes, but this was another mistake, is that I didn't make the scene long enough. So I actually made the scene repeat twice because I didn't make it long enough. And then again, files. So again, I would say this scene here, where a bunch of stuff was just past him, was actually inspired by like anime, where they go, what, and then a bunch of stuff flashes behind them, and stuff like that. But that was kind of the goal here for this scene, and stuff. So I kind of wanted it, and kind of it kind of makes a little bit sense. Like, it kind of fixes my mistake of me repeating some stuff, but I thought it was alright. Again, more night. Now, I have two mistakes here. If you look back on the screen, wherever it is, I have another mistake here. So with what I've learned from making this model with the night model is that in 3D, I shouldn't clip stuff inside the model, especially like armor and that, because I made this whole like model and stuff, and then I built the armor on top of it. But no, I should have done that, because it totally broke the model. And now, if you notice on my screen, like, in normal circumstances, no one probably would ever see it, but this little bit here is clipping. This thing here is a little bit of clipping that I've done. So I've really, when I was trying to do this, I was really tried to have no animation on the Sandwich Lord at all, because of my terrible, horrendous model that I built. But like, I couldn't sacrifice it. I was too far deep, alright? I was too deep. And then like, even then, because I had made some shots and I didn't even know about this, and it was only until like this scene when I actually posed him, I noticed my error. But like, I was too far gone. I couldn't make another model, and I couldn't waste precious time doing just making more models and stuff. But yeah, this was a learning experience. In Blender, don't clip the stuff using Rigify, whatever. Don't clip stuff into your mesh and stuff, because it just doesn't work out right. It's not good. But anyway, and the second thing is the bricks. Like, what is going on here? I've only just noticed that from the steel frame. And then the door archway is also kind of wrong, but I feel like that can be forgiven a little. I haven't told you about the lights as well. I've totally missed that. There was like, when doing these big long projects, there were so many different like nitpicky things I made in the moment that I forget. I've just noticed another mistake. This project is falling apart. There's a massive shadow here, which is meant to be for a column, but like the lights don't even. Oh my god! there's a massive so there's actually behind this sandwich lot there's a column here, but like obviously because I put some lights behind it, then the shadow's showing, and the way I've done the camera, I haven't put the shadow, and I've only just like I tied them up like I haven't made the column longer, or like I haven't made the column longer so that you won't see the shadows, but I've only just noticed that. Oh, it's all falling apart. But anyway, so let me talk about the lights. The lights, when I was doing the lights, so the the cardboard knight is meant to represent good. So whenever he's on, he's always got like a white light around him to show that he's good and he's challenging this this evil person, and to show the evil sandwich lord. So to reinforce the evilness of the sandwich lord, I put him in red, and even his red eyes, his red one eye, to show how evil he is. So that's the story about the sound, like the lighting. So I made that choice. But anyway, moving on. So this, if I go back to it, hang on, this is going to be really tough. So when I say he strikes him down, I saw on the internet where they do Delta Run or Delta Ruin stuff, and so whenever someone shows someone being hit, they do this massive white slash for some odd reason. I think I've seen it in some memes and stuff, but I don't know how. I don't know what the reason is, or I've never played Delta Run or Undertale. Well, I have played Delta Run like 1 and 2, but I haven't played Undertale or whatever. But they show this massive slice to show movement. I thought that was kind of cool, so I used it here. Moving on, this bit here on screen. This bit here was a massive illustration. So I wanted to show. Not another mistake down right here. There's no white thing here. Oh my god, this whole project's falling apart. When you really get down to the meat and potatoes of this project, and even over here, there's some lines. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. The story's alright, but like, oh my god, there's so much mistakes I've made, which, oh my god. But and I've noted, my god, there's so many mistakes in this image. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. We just sitting here and just looking at it. There's so many mistakes I've made. But anyway, so I wanted a broader image of what the landscape to look like. So to help me a little, I did make an example in Blender, just to show. So for this whole image here, I wanted to make this tower look really, really tall with olive on top, and the olive. So the olive does appear. I feel like it's a good time to talk about the olive. The olive of the this animation is meant to take bits and pieces of the cross, or like faith and religion and stuff. So there's always a symbol. So when I was doing this project, I always thought about like, if this sandwich thing is so powerful in that, then people would obviously worship and stuff. So I thought about, why don't I just put a cross, or a cross represent, which is like the olive, into my animation, and just have it appear for all about. It's kind of like, it's something, but it goes a little bit deep. But anyway, when I was constructing, I knew that when I was constructing this image, the tower is meant to be really tall and really big. It's meant to tower all across the land and stuff. It's meant to tower across the land. But I found it really hard to do, make this massive thing, but also see the land below, because I couldn't have just a bunch of clouds. That's kind of boring. But so how I did that was I used Blender to just try and, or the Blender 3D, just to try and get like a rough point, because you can't create something out of nothing. That's just not how it works. So I used Blender, and I kind of created like a cube or like a big cube thing. And then I created like a plane just to see how I can figure this all out and stuff. And how I can make this, how I can make the land below tiny and this tower big. But yeah, so then I just added, which turned out alright. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of naff. I probably can do better. I'll be honest, I could have probably do a lot better for us out this project. But anyway, so I'm just making it tiny, look big and stuff. That was my whole thing. I think in my first animatic, I've got to move this on. In my first animatic, I had the cardboard knight being flung out the temple by the sandwich lord. So I kind of took it looked slightly different. It kind of like spun. But I kind of took a different approach. I used the Maze and World of Gumball. Like where, I don't know, I keep saying where they zoom out all the time. Yeah, when they zoom out in the Maze and World of Gumball, normally characters, I assume this. I assume this because I've only watched it when I was like a little kid, but I saw one episode where they zoomed out and then like everyone was a square or a colour. So Darwin, which is like the fish, was orange, Gumball was blue, and then Richard and then so on was pink, and then, yeah, just primary colours. So I kind of took that idea and I thought, what happens if I can zoom it out? So I kind of took that idea and applied it here, and then obviously a cool explosion to make the gag even funnier, which I do think I think a lot of people I spoke to like the original thing what I did in the animatic because it was kind of funny. This not so, but the explosions from Deltarune, I think, I'm not quite sure, but I just thought it was funny. I just literally typed in Google explosion in, so yeah, and then he shuts the thing. Anyway, moving on. Boom, same image as before. Same image as the start. Okay, and then move on. So I feel like I should point out my errors, but when the fox is shown on screen, his lineup changed. That's an error. That's another error. So yeah, that's another error in the counter. Anyway, so I did this in Photoshop, and then I took out every single. I just used the opacity slider, and then I rendered out like each frame. Well, not even frame, but like image, and then I just put them in a timeline, and then I put them all together, and then they made this cool thing. So he goes, then he arrived, which is kind of cool. Not really much to say that. I kind of want to, like, again, going back to the starters, I kind of wanted to portray him as kind of powerful, kind of like an expert of what he can do and stuff. Like he's the one who can break into the temple and just do it and stuff like that. So it was fun. And then he looks up and goes boom. Actually, this when I made him look up, so in here, I did this in Blender. So when I did this bit here, I kind of I kind of thought about what cowboys do in like the Wild West, and stuff. But like I also thought about what he would do in this like um, situation, and I immediately went like looking down, and then I went like this. Um, so I thought that was quite a cool thing. So yeah, when I thought about cowboys and stuff, and like, um, so yeah, I instinctively went like this, and I just thought that was like really like, yeah, I can have that. I can add that. I think. So I added that in because it was cool. Okay, and then this, and then other than the cowboy thing, of the fox. That was it. That was all the new bits of content. There is one more, but like that's more of live action, and that was like just chucked in because I didn't know what to do there. But we will get to that. Calm down. Anyway, so this bit is kind of like the rough sketch. So when I was doing this, I literally went, because I'll be honest, I would have like, if I didn't put the stuff, if I wouldn't put my first animatic, and then like this is kind of my second, so that's my polished version of my first animatic in, I would have had absolutely nothing. So when I was doing this, I thought that no one would ever actually see any of these sketches, so I can be as lazy as I want, as long as it conveys emotion and stuff. Kind of speeding things along a little. So I kind of just did like quick sketches of what I thought. So I just used cubes and other stuff. And even at this point, I didn't even have a full character. So this next scene is where he sneaks into the temple, and then I just used a placeholder for a cube, and stuff. And then because of how short the scene was, it's gonna be really hard now because I haven't quite actually finished. It is because even though it's an animatic and it's not going to be finished, it's kind of hard to explain. But without recording, but when I was doing this scene, where he sneaks into the temple, I wanted like a rush cut to the moon, to just show it's nighttime and stuff. When it says "in the dead of night," so I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, moving on. And then I thought, so when he sneaks in, so here, so he kind of sidesteps in. I thought about like Looney Tunes and stuff like that, of how they do the sneaky thing. So I thought I could add some like exaggeration here, and I could have his leg like bend, and then he can vanish. Because I like that was really cool. I thought that was really cool, and kind of like gave to the gag, but like because it's not finished, it's not very good. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, so yeah, he kind of sidestepped Sims and then vanished, but didn't really come off. Then I kind of wanted. Then I think with this project, I kind of took the approach of what do I want to animate. What would be cool to animate? So this here where he jumps over a gap, I thought about what I always wanted to do, like a running animation, but someone jumps as well. So he jumps over a hole, and I thought that'd be really cool, especially if like I just thought it would be really cool to have like someone running and then jump over the hole, especially trying to figure out how to figure out like this fox creature, how he would jump, and I thought that would be like an extra layer of challenge and stuff. Anyway, moving on. Here, another gag, kind of like an Indiana Jones, where he kind of sneaks across like this gap, and I thought that was really cool. Just to show there is. I think with this part where he's sneaking into the temple, I needed to show some like actual temple stuff. So it's not. I think I wrote like a line in here where it says, It's just not a big guy. Because there's a massive structure, there's got to be something else in it. It's just not big. It's just not a guy standing there all day and night, just waiting for someone to turn up and eat this sandwich, you know, or defend this sandwich, you know. There's got to be something else. So I just thought about that. Anyway. Okay, moving on. You know, caverns and gaps. So I thought about what ones if it's kind of a weird one. It's just what happens if I just show a bridge, him crossing a bridge, just to get the point across, because I don't even know. I think in the recording I do this thing where I improvise. So I said, and he crossed caverns and gaps. But like, what does that actually mean? So I kind of thought, well, cavern's a big hole, ain't it? So or like a big rock work. So why don't I just do him crash, like crossing the bridge, and then in the very same motion. So like show him in like a really large, big space, and then you go from this really large, big space to him like being really squished into like drywall, where he's just flat like this. So I thought that would be really cool. And even my notes, we need traps in this temple, or it's just a big man in a big room. And I even wrote that right there. But like, you know, there's got to be some challenges, and there's got to be like some sense to show that how is he not dead yet? How, like, it's just, so I just thought about like, what's in a temple? What's like in a Myrad temple? What's in it? It's probably got like arrows and darts, and all those other temple amenities in it. Anyway, moving on. All right, so this was another bit of new content. So he runs into the temple. So when he's running, so I thought this was cool, because when I was doing this, I thought when I should show him running into the temple, and then it fades out. It fades out, and then it goes into me, because I don't me sleeping, because I don't actually know how to animate him sneaking past the guard. So I could have done like vents or like stuff like that. I'll be honest, I didn't really think about doing this. I just drew it on the board. But when I first showed my first animatic, and I did a massive question mark, Tom mentioned Tom mentioned that I should a toilet or do a SpongeBob where they show something completely unrelated, but it's funny. It is the funny. But I did that. So I took his like words of advice, and I thought about what could I do to make this funny. So I thought, why don't I just have myself sleeping at my desk, just to show that I haven't actually animated or done anything for this part, because I slept through it. You know, I had like a nap. It was alright, but I did kind of want this. When I did this, I kind of want this to be like really terrible and really low quality, like just a normal person who just happened to walk in and just started filming me at my desk for some strange odd reason. So I kind of took that approach, but like in order for me to do that, I would have I just gave it to my brother, because I'll be honest, if you give a person, I think if you give a person no, because he hasn't got no experience on how to actually handle a camera and stuff, I gave him the camera because he would have like shot it in this way where he wouldn't know how to actually use a camera, or that was the thought anyway. He kind of did like some experimental stuff when he zoomed in to my face and stuff, but like I'll be honest, I just wanted to give a little bit of my project over to my brother just to see what he would do, and just gave him the task of show the whiteboard. That's it. That's all he had to do, and he took 3 takes. He kind of really wanted to kind of do this and then like rush back to his game or whatever to the other room. So it was alright, but I'll be honest, not the best. I kind of wish that I did give him. I do have a gimbal at home, and I kind of did wish I did give him a gimbal, and I do wish that I did make better lighting, because it is very fuzzy, the camera. But like I feel like it kind of adds to the charm and the randomness. Oh yeah, and he also panned over to the mission shots that I was making at the end. And then there's the whiteboard, which is kind of out of focus. And then we go back into it, where a massive light just engulfs the screen, and then like the temple, boom. I'll be honest, I would have not known how to do this though, because if I did produce it, it'd be like all chopped up and stuff. So I've got to make. I think next time when I do this project, I've got to make all the 3D elements or all the environmental stuff in advance before actually animating anything, because otherwise it's just going to be a complete mess of just shot to shot being total randomness. So I've got to do that next time and make sure it looks good from most angles. Anyway, so massive light. He looks up. Sort of just this big power dynamic between the little guy who's just snuck in here from this massive godlike thing, kind of like that in this shot. Okay, and then we move over. Now here I was going to show him walking up the stairs, but then so again, going back to what do I want to animate? I thought about when I did this shot where he glows, where the sandwich glows. I knew that I didn't have that much time, so instead of showing him like loads of really boring shots where he's actually walking up the stairs, which would be really cool, but kind of boring at the same time, because I don't actually want to animate all that. But so instead of showing up upstairs, I just zipped him to the top of the stairs and him just grabbing the sandwich and yoinking it and then going. Yeah, so I just thought about that. So he kind of prepares and like grabs the sandwich. I thought that'd be way more fun than like him just walking up the stairs. I know there's a way that I could have made that funny, but like I'll be honest, just didn't want to do that. Yeah, so he kind of grabs the sandwich and then swoosh, and then he like leaves with like motion blur and stuff. And I thought that conveyed how fast he is. And then I did this really cool shot, where the camera looked over the pedestal. And I got this idea from like a really early project of where I was experimenting with like cubes and stuff and like how I'm changing camera angles. I'll be honest, this shot where he looks over the box, so I would change that, and him eating it in the hall or the shadows. I did intend for it to be like the grand mischief kind of thing. I did want him to like kind of like a crime, like he did it in like sort of like, I don't know, but like I said dark halls, so I had to kind of make something up. But this is one of the things I would have changed. Maybe I would have done like the maybe I would have done like the start with a rabbit, where he would have stretched his mouth out. But like I guess I couldn't do like everyone in this universe couldn't like stretch their mouths out. Like I can't repeat myself, you know. But anyway, he eats the sandwich, and then he leaves, and he runs. Which this bit would have been really good to animate, because I would have used, I think, parallaxing, where I would have the character like this running, and then like the background moving as well. So that would have been really cool. It would have been a really cool thing to do. But like again, didn't get didn't get through it. But yeah, that would have been really cool with the cape and that. I did actually attempt this in Moho, but it just looked really too fluttery. So I did actually do something. I did actually attempt it. So it was actually this is actually probably one of the unfinished scenes that I didn't actually get through it. I will show that. I will show that later maybe, or I will show that to Tom himself. But like considering how long this video is, it probably won't get shown here. But yeah, I did do it. I did do a run cycle Moho, but it looked way too fluttery for me to do. I got like halfway through, and went nah. Well, not even halfway through. I got like he like hops on one leg, and then I was like, no, this just doesn't look right. And I already spent like a week, like 2-3 weeks, just trying to do it. But I was like, no, Moho's not my strongest so far. I know a lot of Blender. I kind of know Photoshop a little bit now. I'm good at drawing mostly, but yeah, I got hopefully within the break and after I finish editing this video, I will have some new Moho experience and just little stuff. Maybe I'll post it to the channel, or maybe my old one, but I'll post it somewhere. Anyway, so I thought this was a cool shot. Could have used parallax in massive. Could have used Photoshop to have this massive background so it can keep moving. Anyway, and then I would have switched to first person because I thought that would be really cool to do. Where all these trees are going back like that, and it's like kind of like a game, so you can kind of see. And then he switches back, and you can kind of like see him running, panning like that, kind of like getting really dynamic movement in there, that sort of thing. And then after this was a really hard part, because in the story, in this shot here on the screen, I think in the story I don't know what I say, he ran into the hills or something like that, but that it was a really hard part because there was a lot of action going on, and like I didn't know what to do, so I thought about well, he's just eating a sandwich, isn't he? He's just eating a godlike sandwich. So why doesn't he just use his newfound strength to go Super Saiyan so I can use Dragon Ball Z? So it zooms into his face, and then into his eyes, and then he gets like this spark of energy, and then he it gets a spark of energy, and then he runs, and like all these trees get out of the way, go power, and I thought like that would be really cool, especially because at this point I was running out of things that I wanted to animate. So I think what I wanted to do here, if I did actually end up animating it, was impact frames and like stuff like that. I thought, wow, that'd be really cool, and like having trees just fly, or like they stack like bowling pins or something like that. It's so like stupid, but like that would have been cool. But he runs into the hills and stuff, and then the very next scene he stops, and because of you know, I'm gonna say like nature, you can't just stop automatically. There's got to be like some ease in and ease out and stuff. So I thought about what the Road Runner does when he stops. So he kind of like bends back and forwards like a bobblehead. So I thought about that. So I took some liberties of the Road Runner and the Wile E. Coyote from like Looney Tunes and stuff. But yeah, so I thought about that. So he could stop like the Road Runner where he goes meet me. Anyway, and then he gets on his knees and prays. This scene's kind of boring, you know. Just I don't like clouds popping up his head. I feel like I've seen that before somewhere. But he's just thinking about all the stuff he could do. Now he's got this sandwich, so he can wish for emeralds and gold and all those riches. So he wishes, and And actually, this scene here, where it all piles down onto his head, I actually got that from a Christmas episode that I found on YouTube. I, I think it was a Freddy Fazbear Christmas or something. It was really random. But like in it, instead of, because it was stop motion, and because there's some limitations in stop motions, I think the creators actually just got a bunch of gold pieces, and like had the puppet stand like this, where like stand like this looking up, and then like they just literally just took all like these gold shingle stuff and then just put it all over the character, and it made this really nice thing where it just bounced off him and he was had a pile of gold. But then actually, like, that was cool. So to do that, and then here a massive cloud comes over because, you know, magic. It's magic. It's all magic, you know. So, and then he kind of, and then it rains, but like in actual reality, gold's heavy. Gold's heavy. It's gonna crush you. And like, you know, it kind of looks like, because, oh no, and he gets. Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was funny, so I did that. And then I think this, where the sandwich fades out, I thought this would be really cool. Like a cool ending to the story, and even in my storyboards, I didn't have the sandwich fading out, but this was like a thing that I did on like the fly, where like what happens if the sandwich is like, because I say oh, and all traces of the sandwich was lost. Again, improvising. This little bit was, there was a lot of improvising when I did the voice, and it actually worked out really nice. But yeah, so I thought, like, why don't I just take that? Worked really well. Tom did say that I should animate it if I did get around to animating it. Is that the sandwich should be just eaten and like full to crumbs and stuff, which is really cool. But sadly not. Deadline day, you know. And then nothing comes out. I did actually wish that I would have put something here. Put something here just to wrap it up a little. But you know, other than that, it was all done. Anyway, I'm finally finished. I finally finished telling you how I made the sandwich. Was this a good project? 10 out of 10, I would say. I've written like already a whole paragraph of like where it is and stuff. You know, I would say, I'm trying to think now. This is this is the last time I did like a video of this where I was like, oh, is there something else I can say? But yeah, I would say this was a pretty good project. Like, I got to work with loads of materials and stuff. I looked at a load of different things. I think other than that, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, internet. But I will be out now because I've got to edit a video apparently and lunch. I'm hungry. I've got to edit lunch. Anyway, but I can't wait to enjoy my break. I can't wait to do some experience in Moho. But I'll be out now. Thank you very much.